This is Ben Davison. Subscribe to Stephen Icon.
So Deontay Wilder's doing it again. More excuses. So the former WBC head... Oh, sorry, my bad. Tyson Fury got screwed. I forgot. Wilder lost to an inactive fat man. God bless Tyson Fury. And yet we all know who won that fight, really. Tyson Fury by a landslide. Anyway, Deontay Wilder is making more excuses as to why he didn't perform, as to why he didn't knock out a guy who's been out of the ring for the best part of 3 years, took on 2 cab drivers, put cocaine up his nose, copious amounts of alcohol, living in takeaway shops, and had mental health problems, had his license stripped and all this kind of thing. And yet this superior, baddest man on the planet couldn't do nothing to him. Anyway, he's come up with another excuse, which is the reason he didn't stop Tyson Fury, and I'll put the article in the description box as always, go read it for yourself, where he says within here that he was afraid of his own power. He didn't realise at the time why he couldn't throw the big right hand and land it. He couldn't understand it, but now he does. It's because he's afraid of his own power. When he looks back at fights like Arthur Spilker, which, by the way, he did knock him smooth out. That was a beautiful knockout, that was. And against Lakovic, when Lakovic was on the floor having damn seizures. Okay, the boy's got power, let's be honest. But against who? Mediocre opposition. He hit Tyson Fury flush. Tyson Fury went down. Oh, of course, he got a free left hook as he was going down as well. Who knows? Maybe that left hook woke him up. I don't know. But either way, he gets up like something out of Walking Dead. Okay? So this shows that Wilder's power is overrated, that's for sure. But it's still good enough to knock anybody down and B-level opponents out. But elite fighters, maybe not so much. But anyway, time will tell on that one. So anyway, he's saying that he's afraid of his own power. He didn't want to do to Tyson Fury. Subconsciously, he didn't want to do to Tyson Fury and potentially kill him. Even though he's been big enough how he wants a body on his record. Even though prior to the fight, he's saying that he's excited about the thought of seeing Tyson Fury in a heap on the floor as he's standing over his limp body. This is what Deontay Wilder says. But now, suddenly, he didn't knock him out because he was afraid. Yeah, only a few days ago, he was saying he didn't knock him out because he broke his arm a few weeks before camp started, and he didn't throw his right hand in camp, in training, through fear of it breaking again. Do you see the contradictions that he's coming up with? Sometimes, I don't know whether or not he actually knows that he's doing it. Sometimes I think he thinks that he's talking to himself or talking to one person, not thinking that, guess what? This is being recorded, you fool. Everybody's going to hear it. People are going to read things into it that maybe shouldn't be read into it, okay? You need to be careful. This is what happens when Deontay Wilder is allowed to speak unsupervised, okay? Things fall out of his mouth. It's what happens, okay? He needs his hand held because he contradicts himself a lot. And he says, I don't want to make excuses about things. Yeah, every single fight he's got an excuse. Well, against Luis Ortiz, you know, I come in light and I was drained and I wasn't feeling good very well because I had the shits. And this one, well, I broke my arm. Oh, actually, well, it wasn't necessarily that. It's because subconsciously I realised I've got so much power, which he says in this article, by the way, that he's afraid of his own power now. But in the rematch, he wants to go up to 245 pounds. That's what he wants to do, go up to 245 pounds, and if people want to see brutal knockouts, that's what they're going to get. His stock must have dropped so much. It really must have. And in some ways, I kind of feel bad for him because he lives in like his own little bubble. Do you know how many celebrities, they don't live in the real world? Once they get like a little bit of fame, suddenly they think that they're something that they're not. We know Wilder, he calls on the spirits and the ancestors and the goddess Sophia, all this kind of thing. It's getting to him now. And that's the truth of it. Listen, let's put this in very, very basic terms. You went in there against a guy who you should have walked through. Here's the reason why Tony Bellew was calling him out. Antonio Tarver was calling him out. Shannon Briggs was calling him out. So many fighters were calling out Tyson Fury because he wasn't ready. We know why you took the fight. This cherry had a pip in it and it bit you. It broke your tooth is what it did. And he embarrassed you because you should have breezed through him. Hence the reason why in round number 1, you came out of there and was on the front foot because you had no fear of his power. You knew he wasn't ready and you got done by a guy who's 70% right now. In the rematch, he's going to be higher, which means in the rematch, he should be better. Deontay Wilder is getting exposed each fight lately. His stock is dropping. People are saying, actually, he's way more vulnerable than what we thought. He's still got power, of course. But for him to say, I possess this power, it's like he's been given a gift from the gods, like Thor's hammer or kryptonite. Listen, man, it ain't that bad. It really isn't. Okay? So, anyway, he was afraid of knocking out Tyson Fury. This is the latest one. And I said, article in the description, go have a read of it all yourself. And for him to say he wants to be weighing 245 pounds, then why is it every single fight you seem to be weighing less and less and less? Now, it wouldn't surprise me, in all honesty, if he's saying a lot of these things because he's actually more intelligent than maybe I'm giving him credit for and a lot of people give him credit for. Maybe he's far more intelligent than what we think. He's doing this to set up his Wildettes, his fanboys channels out there to say, if I say this, let's see how they get me out of this one. He's setting them up challenges is what he's doing. Okay, he's putting them through the crystal maze is what he's doing, the krypton factor. If I keep throwing these hurdles in there, I can say whatever I like. These guys will come out with excuses. Let's challenge them. Maybe that's what he's doing. And he's sitting back laughing at them going, hey man, look at this clown ass. Look at him. Look at these damn excuses that they're coming out with. God, these boys will say anything to defend me. Anything. It doesn't matter what I do. I even said that I want to be pregnant. I want to carry a baby around. They didn't say anything about it. Even though that, they were having a go at Oscar De La Hoya for wearing fishnets. Adrian Broner made a joke about kissing Tank Davis. And these guys went in on him. But I do something, that's all right. Seriously, Wilder can walk down the street with a dildo hanging out of his backside. And these guys will just ignore it or defend it. Well, that's what all people do, isn't it? Man, when are you guys going to wake up? And I know that since this fight, a lot of his fans have woke up. I know they have. I've seen it. They are defecting over to the light side now because they see what it is that Wilder's been doing. He's not all that. He really isn't all that. Hey, listen, and I've always said, if Deontay Wilder ends up becoming undisputed and dominates the division, fair enough. I have no issue with that, none whatsoever. But I want to see it. I want to see it. Stop making excuses. Don't talk the game. Walk the walk. Don't just talk it. I didn't throw the punch because subconsciously, which I didn't realise at the time, but I do now, that I've got this power and I just didn't want to knock out Tyson Fury and see him having seizures on the floor. Come on now, what's the next one going to be? Next week could be something totally different and his fanboys will jump in bed with that one too. Man, when are you guys actually going to start pulling up these other channels about the things that they're saying and defending this man? Surely you've got common sense yourself, right? You can see what it is that Wilder's doing. I said, it may not be his fault. It may not be his fault. He just doesn't know any better. Maybe that's what it is. If you guys are really fans, you guys need to say, no, listen, man, you need to be fighting Joshua. You should have fought Joshua by now. And if you lose, you lose. No big deal. By the way, 51-0. That ain't happening now, is it? One face, one name, one champion. Deontay Wilder. Isn't that what he said? Yet he sets up and signs for a rematch with Tyson Fury before the first one's even taken place. You see, excuses galore. And this is the latest one. First of all, he broke his arm. Now it was because he was afraid to knock out Tyson Fury. Next week, there'll be something else. Guarantee it. Anyway, drop your thoughts below. Go give it a read. Click the thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.